Welcome to the Midgar Press. My name is Jay. So we're going with the oldie, the goldie. One could say the perfect monster for any situation. They can be daylight, nightlight, star bright. Wish I could see a star tonight. No, it could be the daytime, nighttime, dungeon, middle of the freaking ocean, in the grassland, in a farm, in a tavern, under an inn, in a barn. Did I say barn twice? I don't know. You could legit put a skeleton anywhere, just anywhere. Um, but they're classics. They're freaking classics. How many times have you seen a monster movie and a skeleton just repopulates? Starts to bones just start to connect and creak and start to come back together, and then the head just kind of the mouth is all half wide open, and because it's dislocated, the jaw is, or it's broken. Skeletons are just like one of the top-notch monsters of any fantasy setting, just plain and simple. And that's what we're going to cover today from the Dragonbane Bestiary in more depth, the skeleton. They could be raised by vengeful rage. They could be raised by dark, powerful magic. Heck, it could just be because the setting of the world says that skeletons are a thing. Come on. Do you really need a reason to put a skeleton somewhere? No. In fact, do this. The next time one of your players is like, oh, I'm just going to open this closet, put a skeleton in there. It doesn't even have to move. That's the best thing. I did this once in a one-shot. Actually, just recently. They were opening a sarcophagus, and I was going to leave it, empty. But I thought to myself, it's just going to be a skeleton, and it doesn't do anything. It legit doesn't do anything. It just fell on the players. They freaked out, and it was glorious. It was absolutely glorious. Even skeletons that don't move scare people. Skeletons are the best. But anyways, so here in the Dragonbane Bestiary, they give you 3 examples. They give you the warrior, the archer, and a champion. Of course, you have to have a champion, an undead gladiator almost. Because it's one thing to have multiple skeletons just being generic. You got your warrior, you got your archer. Those are perfect. You can do 1 per player character. If you got an adventuring party of 4 or 5, do 2 warriors, two archers. Done. Simple. You can do, or if you want to take a step back, do 2 warriors, 1 archer. That way they still have to do some adventuring where they have to run up and get the archer. Or just give them 3 archers. Heck, it don't matter. But then there's something about entering a room that is dark as night. Upon entering the room with their torches, and it's a long room. Because this game deals in meters, we're going to talk meters. So let's say they finally open this heavy oaken door. They open this room, and it is dark as night. As far as they can tell, this room goes on and on. You, as the GM, know that this room is roughly 30 meters. So it's a long freaking room. As they all enter the room, a couple of them have their torches up. They've got their torches up. The door closes behind them. And that's when your players start to freak out. They don't know what's going on. But they are, for all they know, enclosed in some hallway or room or some large area. Around the room in the corners, these blue torches pop on. And I say blue because it makes it like a magical effect. The more description you can give when describing a room, you always want to go with your senses, always want to go with your sights, always go with your smells. Senses, yeah. Anyways. At the very end, they see this skeleton clad in armor, sitting in a chair. And as the players take one step towards either the door or towards the skeleton starts to creak and, move, and finally stands up, holds either whatever weapon it has, an axe, a sword, a mace, whatever it is, holds it up in the air. And it's looking at the weapon. The head turns to the player characters, towards your adventuring party, and charges them. Like, how is that not intense? Like, I swear, stuff like this gives me goosebumps. Like, just thinking about the setting, just, there's one thing that I love to do with my player characters, or my players. I want them to feel that I want them to feel like they're there. I want them to feel like they're there. And when you give them a description, when you give them that kind of feel that they are entering into danger, oh, shit gets real. Like, if you want your player characters to role play, make them feel like they're, actually there, and they will. But that's just a small scenario of how you do like a champion. I've used that trick many times within different dungeons just because it immerses them further. And skeletons, like I said, are just fantastic. At some point I'm going to get to it, and I'm sure Free League will publish something, or even third-party people will put something out there if I don't do it first. Like, let's get some skeletal mages in here. Let's get some just those kind of scenarios, create more in-depth situation with the skeletons. Actually, here's a good one. In the town of Outskirt, I've actually put to the side like a small cemetery, a little graveyard. Because when my players decide to actually go through it, because they always do. Like, players, they always go through everything. When they start to go through there, I might roll on a D100, and maybe skeletal hands will pop out of the ground. Like, there's nothing more terrifying than seeing a skeletal hand pop out of the ground, and like, you have that like, oh shit factor, like, freaking crazy. It just adds to the suspense. Like I said, skeletons are, I personally think they are the #1 fantasy creature. I can't tell you how many movies or how many TTRPG booklets, modules, adventures that I've seen with skeletons on the front. Like, and you don't even have to do skeletal humanoids. Like, do some wolfkin skeletons, do some elves, do some dwarfs, do some goblins, do some orcs, do some mallards. Put a freaking dragon skeleton in there. Put in a lion skeleton. Put in a manticore skeleton. Like, don't just keep it as like generic like this. Like, the generic, I promise, still works. Still gives that terrifying factor. But throw in a skeletal dragon. Actually, I tell you what, I've got one that my daughter painted. Because I'm a nerd. Of course, my spawn, my daughter, she's a nerd too. But like, she painted that. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I probably wouldn't have gone with the blue-black scheme, but she did it for me. I love it. Absolutely love it. So, throw skeletons in your games. Just do it. I promise you will not be dissatisfied. I promise. And your players, I promise they will not be sad that you did. Like, Just do it. Okay, that's all I ask. Just do it. But that's what I want you all to do. Like this video, obviously, like this video, but leave in the comments. Tell me how you want to put skeletons into your game. Tell me how you want to introduce them as a fear factor in your game. Ooh, here's a good one. Hang on, hold up. Here's a good one. Not every room has to be an encounter, okay? Yes, you know who I'm talking to. Not every encounter has to be combat. It doesn't have to be deadly. Let the players walk into a room and there's skeletons all across the room, and they don't animate, okay? They don't animate. But check this. Have one of them leaning against the wall with like their finger, okay, like on the ground. But on the wall, have a blood streak where it looks like their hand was like they were using their finger to type or to write something on the wall. And all it says on the wall in blood, get out, or turn back, or leave, or, you know, something menacing. Like, that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. And your players start freaking out. So, like this video, tell me in the comments, what would you do with your skeletons? What kind of skeletons? Tell me what kind of skeletons. Are you just using humanoid? Using monsters? Like, what are you using? And then share this video. Share this video with anybody that loves a good skeleton in fantasy. Doesn't even have to be Dragonbane. We're talking Dragonbane, but I want to know what's your favorite skeletons? What kind of things do you like to do with your skeletons? So until next time, live on and game on, my friends.